This is the 2020 BMW M550i, and a long time ago someone once said, money doesn't buy you happiness. Well, if you had a lazy 100,000 Canadian dollars lying about, you could buy this, and you wouldn't be unhappy. So this is the M Performance version of the long-running mid-size luxury 5 Series from BMW, and it's got a huge new addition for 2020 that makes it stand right out. Of course, you've got the other telltale signs that this is the M550, which has been around since the spring of 2017. You've got the sort of silvery bronze mirror caps, that same detailing on the back, on the front grille. You've got those big M Performance brakes. And BMW just announced the big facelift for the 5 Series, not hugely different from this one, but they'll come out as a 2021 model in the summer of 2020. You've got the newly designed kidney grille, you've got newly designed headlights and rear tail lights, a bit of other detailings as well. It's not revolutionary, but the great news is what you have in the 2020, the big upgrade to the engine, is still exactly the same for 2021. And below this in the 5 Series, of course, you've still got the 530 and the 540. Those are 4-cylinder and 6-cylinder respectively. There's even the plug-in hybrid now, but if you want the V8, you got to go for this one. And now with that engine upgrade, I don't think you need to go for an M5, because this one, functioning for families of course, is much softer, a bit more refined, more plush and luxurious and very understated. You don't know by looking at it what this car can actually do, but you do know how wonderfully appointed the interior is and everything. But changes for 2020, we got a few things like standard heating on the front seats. You had the in-dash navigation, the M Performance differential included, just a few little things. But the big one was the upgrade to the engine, which is exactly the same for the 2021 model. So the M550i is powered by the 4.4 litre twin turbocharged V8 engine. And this year it got a big boost, 68 more horsepower, up to 523 horsepower, and now has 553 pound-feet of torque, which is 73 more than 2019. It's strapped to the 8-speed automatic transmission, which is imperceptible at low speeds. And also you've got the long-running, tried and tested BMW xDrive system, which is the rear-biased all-wheel drive system. But this engine is just such a finely crafted piece of art that it really does cover both ends of the spectrum. In one sense, it's very toned back, well matted at slow speeds getting around town. You would not know that if you wanted to, it can be an absolute savage. And if you're looking at competitors, you might be looking at the Mercedes E43 AMG or the Audi S6. Both of those are 6-cylinder engines, way less power, but still pretty comparable in a lot of aspects. So here at Family Wheels, we are not horsepower obsessed. We're very much about the practicalities and functionality of a car for a family, but you can't talk about this car without talking about that. It is absolutely addictive. If you've driven it once, you do not want to stop. So let's get to some of that practical stuff, shall we? Let's start with the trunk. We're looking at 18.7 cubic feet of space, or around 529 litres. And what BMW is really good at is giving you more trunk space than some of its closest competitors. So this will have more trunk space than the E-Class and the A6 from Audi. So that's really good. Our standardized test, stroller, 2 bags of groceries, camera gear, soccer ball. It's quite low and flat, but it handles it really, really well. Practical area number 2. Let's check out the back seat. Oh boy, this is a nice place to be. Absolutely beautifully appointed in the back seat and supreme comfort. So you do actually have a little bit less leg room than I might have thought. So you've got 36.5 inches of rear leg space, which is only about 1.3 inches more than the BMW 3 Series. So I would have expected that you might get maybe right in the middle between the 3 Series and the 7 Series, but you don't. And it does sit right between the E-Class and the Audi A6 as well. It is not too bad, but you do have supreme comfort back here. One of the things that you do have with this particular package on this car, you do have these sunshades, which is great for if you've got infants trying to sleep back here. I would have thought they might be electric though. I mean, when you look at what Genesis is offering and everything in the G90, different class going against the 7 Series, but all of that is electric for them. You do have a sunshade for the back window though, that is electric, that is operated by the driver up there. But in terms of our rear-facing kid seat test, it's not too bad. The front passenger has enough space. Knees are not against the glove box. It's okay. Your anchor points, I love these flip tops from the ISOFIX. Just, oh no, the ISOFIX probably. But yeah, your anchor points for putting the kid seats in, very, very easy to get. What I do have a slight concern with though is just the distance. The seats sit quite a distance forward while the door arches are sitting quite high. It's a little bit sloped. Stepping into the footwell, there's not a huge amount of space. So even my kids, there's not really enough room to sort of get themselves up, standing in the footwell and onto their seat. It's reasonably tight because you are inhibited a decent amount by that wheel arch there. So it kind of all shuffles a little bit forward and is a little bit tight. But I mean, it's more about the driver up front, but it does still work for families. You do have terrific storage back here though. The door bins have lots of room. You probably fit 3 water bottles in there if you like. The map pockets are a decent size and they're like spring loaded. They're really, really nice as well. You've got just over 37 inches of headspace back here. I don't feel too crammed in. So for an adult passenger, it's a very comfortable ride. You've also got heated rear seats, you've got your own climate control, you've got 2 USB outlets and a 12-volt outlet in the back for everyone as well. And you also have access through as well, even with just this middle part, which is very, very convenient if you want to grab something out of the back, and you got that one as well. Okay, so that's the back seat. That actually works reasonably well. Let's find out how wonderfully comfortable you are one row up. Okay, so I mentioned that we are not obsessed with horsepower here at Family Wheels. We're more about practical and informative reviews for families. So I just need to practically show you how to use launch control. Because this car will go from 0 to 100 kilometers or 60 mile an hour in less than 4 seconds. So we practically push the Sport button and get it to Sport Plus, and then we informatively turn off traction control, and then yada, 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 put it into manual, mash down the brake, mash down the... Oh, whoo. Just lethal. So, like every time it changes gears, it just pushes you forward and launches. Okay, now that we got that out of the way, we can concentrate on the other side of it. But I love this interior. These seats, so comfortable. They're adjustable in so many different ways. The fixtures and finishings on the interior here is such a high quality. And you hear how quiet this cabin is. That's one of the beautiful parts of it. It's going to reduce some driver fatigue if you're doing some long distance, if you've got kids sleeping in the back. They're going to be super, super comfortable because it's almost to a fault actually. Like if you've got the stereo up just a little bit, you're really not hearing the engine at all. When it's at low revs like this, just getting about town, it is so quiet. And then when you want to, you just do that. It's crazy good. By the way, that's not even the most expensive stereo you can get on it. You can then pay like an extra 6,000 Canadian for the more premium one. Yeah. And then you've got the very familiar iDrive 7 system from BMW, which I really like. You can really customize everything. And that's where some changes are going to be for 2021 as well. So what they're doing is giving it a bunch more tech, not only with that, but with your driver assistance technology to make it closer to being automated. So you've got a few things like active navigation with lane changing assistant, and then a lane return feature and stuff. So it's even more elevated tech that is really going to couple with things when they become even more automated. But I don't think you're missing out on this. You've got all those amazing driver assistance technology packages that BMW has and is of very, very good quality. My one gripe with that though is that you have to option up the lane keeping assist with the radar cruise with stop and go, which works so well together, especially on the highway. You have to buy a package for that, whereas other things like Hyundai is giving you that from a really low price point, and theirs are really good. The parking assistant is awesome too. So the reverse camera, high resolution, the surround camera too, lots of different views to it, parallel or perpendicular parking. And now you don't actually have to change gears or hit the brakes at all. All you got to do once it's found a spot and lets you know, hit the indicator, hold down the button, it changes gears and it does the braking for you. In 2020, you also have the digital dash, which now has the in-dash navigation also. So that's nice. You don't have many different choices in terms of changing the look of it. It's kind of just the one. You also have the wireless charging pad with wireless Apple CarPlay connection, which is the best way to do it. Other cars that have the wireless charging pad, then you got to plug your phone in to use Apple CarPlay. You also have the Hey BMW voice recognition. I didn't know. I didn't summon you. Sorry, you have that. And you also have gesture control in this as well with your volume. You can mute audio, all sorts of things just using gesture control. So they're all about trying to get you to concentrate on the road and not concentrate with what's going on down here, which has also helped out with the wheel down here as well. So iDrive 7, I really like it. 2021 is going to have more technology to it. I don't think you're missing out by having this. You got other features in here too, like I have massage chairs in this, which is awesome. I never want to leave this car. I never want to leave it. And the easy drivability of the car around town is great as well. The steering never feels too light or too hard. Sometimes with some other BMWs, I felt at slow speeds, it's still reasonably heavy. I think this one's pretty spot on. You've got a range of high performance things attached to this car, like that dynamic chassis stability. You've got the M Performance differential, those big brakes and everything to make this car an absolute pleasure, but it's never too bumpy or too stiff when you're in comfort mode, because you do have comfort mode. And then, which I spent most of my time in, you've got Eco Pro, which is going to give you the best gas mileage, and that is around about 11.1 litres per 100 kilometres. Let's talk all important price. In Canada, this starts at $86,650. If you want to get every option, you're up around $115,000. And in the States, you're looking at $76,650 as a starting point. The packages are very different, US versus Canada. US seems to have a lot more and you can buy little pieces at a time. Canada keeps them sort of more bigger and bunched up with lots of different features in each package. So that's the 2020 BMW M550i. Great car, expensive, yes, but if you got the cash, I'd pay it easily. Hopefully you found this review useful. If you have, give it a like, leave a comment, and make sure you subscribe to Family Wheels because we put out brand new reviews every single week. Till next time, from Family Wheels, I'm Kai.